Today I'm going to talk about chord melodies, and in particular we're going to work on Wildwood Flower, which is a traditional song. I'm familiar with the Carter family version, but there's a lot of different versions of it. So with this arrangement of Wildwood Flower, you can accompany yourself with the chords while you also play the melody at the same time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the tab. You will see above the tab staff some chords written in. These are the same chords you would strum as if you were singing it. As well as the tab staff with the melody positions written out. And just as a reminder, if you're new to reading tab, the lines represent the strings of the ukulele, going from G, C, E, A, bottom to top. So the bottom line on your tab staff is this string on your ukulele. So just keep that in mind, so you can think about the orientation of the strings when you're reading the tab. Okay, so let me just talk you through this tab. It starts with a pickup, and what a pickup is just a little brief section of music that starts before the downbeat. So I have two notes that I'll play before the first chord that I strum, and that's the 0 and 1 on the E string. And then when I get to the 3, 0, 1, 3, that's my first downbeat. That's beat 1 of my first full measure. When I get to that 3, I'd like to add a C chord to it. Normally I would play a C chord like this, but because I'm also trying to fret this note, this melody note, I might play with my pinky finger, or if you're comfortable with barring, you could bar it. However, you are able to grab the chord and also the melody note at the same time. Do whatever's comfortable there. So, for this next little phrase, I'm on the open A string, and then the third fret of the A string, followed by the open E string. And when I get to the open E string, I'll play my C chord again. And if you want, you could even stop, since the melody note is on the E string, the open E string. You could stop your strum right there and really draw out that note. Right, so we've got our first two C chords. And the next phrase leads us up to the G chord. So I'm going first fret of the E string, to the open E string, to the second fret of the C string. And when I get to that second fret of the C string, that's where I want to play my G7. And then for the last chord of this line, when I go back to my C chord, my melody goes open E string, to second fret of the C string, to the open C string. So the open C string will be our melody note here when we play our C chord. So all together, this phrase will sound like this. Just like that. And lucky for us, that line basically repeats itself. La 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 la. That happens twice before we move on to the next section. So let's try doing that twice in a row as it's written on the tab. 1, 2. And so that's the end of the first half. The next part brings us a little higher on the fretboard than we've been hanging out. So the pickup to this next part is the 3 and 3 at the end of the 8th full bar. So you've just played your open C string with your C chord, and now we're at the part that goes 3, 3, 7. So what I'm going to do, since I need to reach up to the 7th fret, I'm going to play both of those 3rd fret notes with my pointer finger. 3rd fret on the E string, and then 3rd fret on the A string. So I'm just going to use just this little first segment of my finger and just press both of those. 3, 3, 7, 7th fret, I'm going to use my pinky finger to play it. And because it sounds good with the C chord, with the other strings of the C chord, I can just strum all of the open strings with that. And that makes my C chord there, basically. Just like that. So maybe practice fretting the 3rd fret of the A string with your pointer finger and reaching up to the 7th fret with your pinky finger. Just get used to doing that stretch. It might be easier on a soprano uke than it is on a tenor. You just have to play around with it and see what's comfortable. Okay, but for this section anyway, so we're going to go 3, 3, 7, and I'm going to strum all of my open strings on 7. And then I'm going to work my way back down. 7, 5, 3, and that's also a C chord, right? So from the top it's 3, 3, 7, 7, 5, 3. And now I'm working my way to the F chord. Open A string to the 3rd fret of the E string, and then the open A string again. But when I hit the open A string this time, I'm just going to strum on an F chord. Just like that. And then 3, open, 3, and that last 3 is a C chord as well. So let's just do this as a phrase by itself. This is starting from the barred 3 notes that work their way up to the pinky finger on the 7th fret. It's going to sound like this. 1, 2. Do that one more time for good measure as a close-up. So here are my 3 notes under my pointer finger. 3, 3, 7, 7, 5, 3, open, 3, open, 3, open, 3. So now we have our last phrase. Starting again, open E string to the 1st fret, to the 3rd, just like we did at the very beginning. Then followed by 3rd fret, 1st fret, 3rd fret, open A, 3rd fret of the E to the open E string. So just that much again. Open, 1, 3, 3, 1, 3, open, 3, open. And then we've got our G7 chord. So we're holding the 2nd fret of the C string with our G7 chord. We can strum the whole thing. Then open E to the 2nd fret of the C to the open C string, and we'll end on our C chord there. So let's just do that last chunk one more time from the from the pickup to the last 4 bars. 1, 2. Okay, so that's a lot of material, and it'll take a little while to get comfortable, but work with the tab. Just take your time, and maybe go through just strumming the chords one time, go through just playing the melody by itself one time, kind of separate out the different elements before you try to put them back together. So let's go ahead and try to play it again together, slowly, all the way through, and have fun with this, have fun practicing it. Okay, so this is Wildwood Flower, the chord melody version. I'll give you 2 beats of count in. 1, 2.